Building, Town Administrator. We have several action items, including hiring a custodian, a request for a special one-day liquor license. We need to set a retreat date for the Board of Selectmen. We need a request to enter into we have a request, rather, to enter into agreement with Energy Electric Company for the Little League field lighting project. We have a request to concur with the appointment of a volunteer for the Community Preservation Committee. We have a resignation letter, and we have a request for appointment to the Assistant Treasurer / Collector. Pardon me, I'm singing too much today. We're requested to approve a letter of support for participation in the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, and we have a request to reappoint a Historical Commission member, full business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes of October 7th and November 4th, Citizens Forum, and then we will adjourn. Okay, any public service announcements? Chase?
I have none.
Mike?
Neither do I.
Mary?
I just want to thank everybody that participated in the Home of the Brave road race and walk that took place on Saturday morning in honor of our veterans. A special shout out to Christine Neslucin, who's our race director, as well as Annie and Kevin from Recreation and our tourist coordinator. They put in a lot of work, as did our veterans agent. And thank you for all the participants. I think we had 135, including our town administrator, which was awesome. And it was a cold morning. Our town clerk participated. So we hope to make it an annual event for those who were not able to go. But I also want to thank the police department, fire department, and members of our CERT team, who always seem to step up and volunteer when they're needed.
Okay, just a reminder, there is the library ribbon cutting this Thursday at 4 o'clock. The tree lighting is November 29th, the day after Thanksgiving, at 6 to 8. And we, as a board, wish the townspeople a very happy and nice Thanksgiving. Okay. Okay, Chief. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this evening we'll have the September and October monthly reports. I will start with September. The beginning of the school year, relatively normal operational events, as well as our training section. The fall months are the months where we start to pick up a little bit on training as the busyness of the season starts to wind down. Usually is a high point for training for us in September and October. If there was any questions on September, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions from the board? Comments?
September.
Yep.
I noticed that we've had, like fewer, which I guess is a good thing, but OUI arrests by like 20% and fewer, well, I guess that's, and quite a few lesser motor vehicle citations. Are we just, is that just because people are being more careful, or are we?
No, I think it has to do with staffing.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's more of a staffing issue than anything, and those numbers tend to go up and down and fluctuate with how our personnel are working and where they're deployed. For the most part, when we do hire someone new, you take 2 officers and they become 1, so you don't have 2 different people out there working and initiating their own activity, so the calls for service will go down, as well as we have a number of members of our department that are also committed to the military, and we may lose them for weeks and months at a time. So that reduces the number of personnel that are working on top of any other shortages that we might have. So I would attribute those to the manpower shortages. I have not done any type of scientific analysis to determine why, but
Okay.
just in my experience, that's where the shortages come from that,
That makes sense, because it's OUI,
which are traditionally,
citations, and business house checks are down
traditionally
more
the
than 1,000.
self-initiated activities.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to any
Right.
business that requests a check, or,
Well, we're doing them, it's just, if there's only 2 people doing them, we're gonna do less on a shift when there's 2 officers on than we would if there's 3 or 4 officers on.
but we haven't had to refuse a business or a
Oh, no, the
house
type
on
of
a
checks
check.
the type of checks that those capture is when an officer's on patrol, every building that they go by, if they stop by the town hall, they'll get out, check the doors, check the windows, and they'll call that in as an activity, doing a business check on the town hall
Okay.
and the church, and then that'll be recorded, and then they could go up and check Disturbance Plaza, and that be recorded. Those numbers can be affected by the activity if there's only 2 officers on the shift. If they get tied up with an accident or an arrest, then they won't be able to do it more than 1 or 2 for the shift, where other nights when there's no activity, they could do 10 or 20 of them on a shift.
So that's another staffing,
Correct.
attributed to staffing. Oh, thanks.
Okay, Chief, I just had a question on both reports on the accident. Sometimes it just says Main Street, no other reference point. Is there a normal procedure where you would put both?
Well, I think that they are more accurately defined in the narrative section. We'll take, for instance, we have 346 Main Street, they'll have are you saying without a number?
Right, it just says Main Street. Some of the others, will actually give Mashpog and River, Maine, and,
Oh, a crossroads, you mean?
yeah, or nearby
Okay.
business. Like there's one
Trying to find. I'm trying
on
to find
page 1 on the accident in September. Near the bottom, there is an accident, Paragon Power Washing and Main Street. Yet up above, there's just a Main Street one.
And that is for September?
September. Yeah, page 1 on the accident.
Trying to find the accident section in my copies. So I have different copies than you?
Probably
Oh, I do.
more
I
detail.
do. So, oh, you know what? Is this what are you looking at a sheet that looks like this?
No, we have this.
Ooh, okay. I know what you're talking about then. Okay. Here. What was the number to the left of it? Does it give you a number?
You mean the one that's Main, 19200 AC.
Okay, finally, I'm here. I think just because you get this type of report of it, it's a reduced information, kind of a condensed narrative, if you will, or a smaller version of this. If you were to run this check through our in-house, every accident report has associated with a crossroad or another address to it. Unless it is specifically at an intersection. And a lot of the other ones, there are numbers. So I just think that that's the way that the records management system generates that, because if I had my computer here and I pulled up this accident number, I could tell you exactly where it was.
Yeah,
what the
because
codes-
there's another one up above
I
that.
see,
It
I
says,
just, they're popping out like crazy now. I see 4 of them already.
yeah, they do.
You
Yeah,
know?
because there's another one that does, not an intersection. It says south of Warren Road and Brookfield Road, so.
When the crash data is entered in the state database,
It's-
there's a GIS map that
Which is different
which
because
shows, oh, that doesn't show these, these?
Well, the reports that are generated on the state forms.
Yeah.
And the state forms contain a lot more information. This is just a status, which gives you a quick location, date, time, offense, the offenders. It's pretty much just a status report. It's not a detailed report. If you go into the report itself, it would give you that. The reason that you do get some of those crossroads is that's how they're entered in for location purposes in our records management system.
No, I assume there was more detail, but I've noticed it before, too.
And if you'll see on some of the offense reports, though, when you get up to the pages before that, you'll see that they are at 308 Main Street.
Yeah.
They're more specific in those status reports. But I think that that's just part of our records management system, because when the dispatcher enters a code for the call, it has an exact address or the closest number to it. I know that information's in the report, but I think that general location is, it is problematic when you're looking at it like this, but we do have all that information there. So we don't have dozens of reports that just say Main Street.
Main Street, right.
on them.
Somewhere, make a guess.
So I'll take a look at that, see if there's some kind of an improvement we can make, or see if there's another box we can check on the report aspect of it.
Yeah, if you could,
Make it a
please,
little more
because it's just
specific.
kind of nice to know, because, people say, oh, there's so many
Oh,
accidents.
it's always in 450, in front of 459.
Yeah,
Or as
you know.
opposed to in front of 31, man. I
Right,
got it,
so-
okay. No, I will take a look at that and see, and it just may be a data entry in our records management system. It may just be a box that we have to check that adds a street number to it.
Okay. Any other questions on September?
Yeah, I just had a comment, Chief, that as a parent that's at Burgess, at least 2 times a day, September, your department did an awesome job following buses. The crews are out on that dirt lot in front of the entrance. It was really cool
Well,
to
we
see.
appreciate
for
that.
everything.
Thank you very much. I know that not only does our SRO work very hard, but our day shift personnel also, especially during that time of year and throughout the year with the different exercises, the bus evacuations, taking notice in all the schools of the activity. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'll pass it along for sure.
Okay, anything else on September? Okay, October?
October, we have more training. Operations, pretty normal for that time of year again. A few more of those mid-fall activities. You'll see the significant training for our officers, a lot of recertifications, a lot of additional specialty training as well. Not sure if this made it into your packet. It's dated October 21st, but we didn't receive it until the early part of November, the November 4th, I believe is when it came to us by email. And it was a notification that the Town of Sturbridge Hazard Mitigation Plan was received and formally approved by FEMA.
Oh,
So that letter should be either here
Here.
or on its way. Because this came in email format, I was told I was gonna get a hard copy of it. I did get a follow-up email with the attachments from the CMRPC as well, about a week after this, acknowledging it as well, and with a letter of congratulations from CMRPC. And it does come from the regional administrator for FEMA Region 1 to our director at MEMA, acknowledging that our Sturbridge Hazard Mitigation Plan update is going to be effective from October 9th, 2019 through October 8th of 2024.
okay, good. I'm sure we'll get a copy of it when it does arrive. Okay, any questions on October from the board? Anything else?
I'm sure there is, I just can't think of anything right now.
That's okay. I just, I had noticed on the SRO at Burgess, September and October began the same way, but I assume the October one, it really wasn't the same problem. First 2 things with the buses, and she had her places mixed up.
It may be a typo on the report that was submitted, I missed that. I can double check on hers. She may be running off of the same report, just
Oh, yeah,
filling some of the new information in
Right.
and oversight.
right. No, that's what I figured.
I think that's a great addition to our report, is being able to have that available to see just the kind of activities that the school resource officers are involved in.
No, it is. Now, how many are growing beards?
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
That's what I forgot. I didn't write it down. It is No Shave November. I started a little bit late, so I'm just at that scruffy stage. However, we do have at least 4 or 5 full beards on their way in the department. It's no tie, no shave November, so that we have all the officers participating. Our charity of choice this year, again, was the Cops for Kids with Cancer, a foundation that essentially provides a $5,000 to checks with family with young children that have cancer. And unfortunately, I first came to know this charity through a request that I received from them, from a parent in town. And in a short few years, we've had them in town here 4 times, but with a doctor's signature and a letter from my office, they'll come out and they provide the family a check for $5,000, and it's, you know, it's pretty helpful to a family. A lot of times the mother or father has to cut their work hours in half or take a leave from their employment to stay home and take care of their child, and every dollar helps. It's a nonprofit organization. It's Cops for Kids with Cancer. Right now, we're up to $855 so far this month towards our goal of $2,500 that we set, or that everybody set for. There's several other police departments that are actively involved, so if there's anybody that wants to contribute, they can go to Cops for Kids with Cancer's website and click on the No Shave, but or just go to the police department's Facebook page, and there are links there. And we have been updating those every couple of weeks to remind people and hopefully have more participation. And there's a lot of donations from residents and citizens outside our community, and it's really encouraging to see the support that we get as a Sturbridge Police Department, the support that this organization gets just from this one drive for this particular event for No Shave November. So thank you for reminding me of that. I appreciate that.
I saw you and I've seen Mike.
His looks good. I commented on the amount of gray.
He had a week's head start on you, though. He had vacation,
That's
so,
what
yeah.
he told me.
I just
I
thought he
had
was
still
really
not-
busy,
I had still been
so he
shaving.
couldn't, you know,
Yeah.
I just thought you were like really straight out. and that-
No, I just had a few things.
It's intentional,
Because
but-
that first week, it really scruffy, and it doesn't look great. And
Yeah.
especially with the uniform on and going to public events, I couldn't do it. And if it'd be one thing if I had a week of quiet time, but, oh well.
Yeah.
On
No.
on the run now, hopefully we'll get it done before the end of the
Well,
month.
congratulations to you all for
Thank you,
doing it.
appreciate the support. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
You know what I was just going to say? I looked at what you thought, maybe, when I read this, mixed up my location, I just thought she meant she alternated her location between parent drop-off and covering breakfast in the cafeteria. No?
No, well, the thing I noticed
You know
was
what I
that
mean? I thought
Both
that was consistent for both months. She used the word mixed up, but I didn't know what she meant by that.
Oh.
Maybe
Well, it's
alternated,
it's
or I
just a
don't know.
minor point.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
I will take a closer look at that next month.
That's how I took it. She
I
alternated.
breezed right through, I breezed right through it. I didn't go through the details. I take a quick.
Well, I had more time to read than you.
Then I'm gonna, when they first come in, I'm gonna send them to you first, just to proof them for us, get them out of the way quick.
Make sure all
my-
the punctuation
With
is
my red pen.
That's all right.
And-
Then they'll come up, get them out of the box, they'll be good to go.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
that's it.
All right.
Okay, have a
Thanks
nice
a lot. Have a great
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you. Okay, Nelson?
Nelson started on Monday.
I was gonna say,
Okay, good
evening.
evening.
I'm here to do my monthly September-October report. You guys should have the paperwork, you know, from me and also from Cindy for Acela. Acela basically breaks it down as to what we've done in numbers. Mine is more generic of what we've really done, and we can talk about it a little bit to be informed. I always start with the daily operations. Again, it's issuing of permits, questions, building permits, zoning. A lot of zoning lately for whatever reason. Been a lot of questions, a lot of things going on with that. And then I went to number 2, as far as zoning goes, one of the things, actually, let's back up to the permitting and inspections. One of the things I'd like to mention here tonight, because people watch the TV, I've been getting a lot of wood stoves, pellet stoves, wood stoves. I've been flunking a lot of them. But people want to be careful. I mean, about a week ago, we almost had we did have a chimney fire, but it was scary. People have to remember, when they have wood stoves and they burn them, I can inspect them, everybody can inspect them, and they can pass inspections, but if you don't keep the chimney, the connection chimney clean, it can be really bad, because that creosote builds up a lot. And then when it does burn off, it gets really, really hot. And we had one the other day, it actually burnt, the pipe was painted black, double wall pipe now, mind you, 6-inch. And it just made little bubbles right in the pipe. That's how hot the pipe got. So, I mean, that's pretty bad. I think I see that a lot. The other thing is, I was at one, a lady had an old Franklin stove, and she got, I think, upset with me. She had bought, I don't know, $1,000 worth of cordwood, and I flunked the stove, and she felt bad, and she said, oh, I bought the wood and everything. And with all due respect, I appreciate that, but they should be coming maybe to the building department first and asking us things, because we'd be more than happy to help them out, because this Franklin stove was old. The pipes, there was actually, the connection pipes coming out of the stove, there was actually gaps around the stove pipe. The stove itself, if you're familiar with a Franklin's, looks like a fireplace, but it's a wood stove. Well, they put those together in pieces, and they have like a putty that seals them. The putty was old, so there was gaps there. I mean, there was no way I could sign it. And I think people understand, and they think a lot of times, the building department wants to flunk it. We don't want to flunk everything, but we want to keep people safe. But I wanted to mention that on TV, because I think, like I say, if anybody's got any questions, they should come to the building department, maybe before they do it. And I think we could answer. The other thing I see a really lot of is the pipes, the stove pipes, especially the single walls. There's an 18-inch clearance, and nobody ever thinks about it when they make their hook and go back into the wall between the ceiling and the pipe. And I see that one, 6 inches, 10 inches. They don't realize how hot that pipe gets, and then when it does, the ceiling starts flying and everything. So I figured I'd mention that tonight. And then we'll go to the next one, zoning, 33 Main, just so you be aware of it. He usually certificates, business certificates, usually it's just, technicality, we sign them, but we look at them. There was one of them where I didn't sign him, but he's actually looking for himself and 3 new businesses in there. And I explained to him, because you may see him come back again, because there's a history with 33 Main. He's been in seeing you guys, so if he does come back in, I'm giving you a heads up. We have a site plan, he has cars, but then he has 4 new people, and he doesn't mark the site plan of the cars. And it's like, I'm not signing that, because it's going to do one thing for me. It's going to get me in trouble. He's going to go back to the TA. He's going to complain. I want to know who's got the cars and where the cars are going, and the number's the same number as the other one, or go back to planning and go get your site plan reviewed, because the cars are going to be all over the place, which is starting to be right now. So that's going to come up again. But, heads up, we're on top of it. There's only so much we can do. We're aware of it. You're aware of it now. Then number 3, residential permits. We just list them out, decks, roofs, winterization. I did make a mistake. It says 3 new single-family homes. There's really 4, because there's one on 202 Lake Road. They ripped one down, and they're rebuilding it. And it's interesting, because if you know that area, they have poles. The poles run off the street there, right in front of the houses. And that particular house, one of the poles is dead center of the house. So they actually got to move the pole, but when they move that pole, they got to move all the lines and everything, do the cable. It's going to be quite the project, kind of neat. New commercial projects, I listed them, there's 5, they're listed there. What I did this time, I put specific upcoming commercial properties to keep you guys kind of informed on some of the things that's going on in town. Some of you are probably aware of it. One is the Blackington building. We've had engineers and different people coming in. They're looking at put 5 apartments up above, and then keep the antique shops and stuff down below. it looks like it might be gonna happen, which I think is a good thing, because, you know, it makes good use of the building, and it would keep the building in good shape, I think. It'd give them money to invest in the building. Another interesting one is pilot travel. From what I'm hearing, they plan to tear that building, when you go to the back, the big building that never really took off, that was gonna be like a restaurant, I guess. It's really, well, it was a nice-looking building at one time. They plan to take that down, and then, a matter of fact, we have a meeting with them tomorrow, and they want to build a truck stop, and they got a design for it, but it's more geared for like a truck stop, diner, people that are truckers, not as formal as the other one, because I think the other one just didn't quite work for them. So that should be kind of interesting. Of course, Delio Gas, they're going to have a fuel transfer and storage building up here over on the, up here at the park, industrial park. Something else that's interesting, compatible K9, some of us older people think of it as Allen's Market on Brookfield Road. The people that had bought the building came in, and there's a couple of things they're looking at. One is a barber shop, similar to like they have sports clips down in New Jersey. The other thing they're looking at is an arcades, you know, pool tables, arcades, similar to like Yestercades. What they're talking about is kind of dividing the building in half, because it's a pretty big area. And part of the back would be part of the arcades, and then the front, the right side, would be the barber shop. So, I mean, there's a good possibility. This thing's coming up. And then I've got ongoing commercial projects. Of course, you've got Lake Resort, 9 Holland Road. As far as I can see, I had talked to that, I can't think of his name, out of Shrewsbury. That's kind of on hold, but I have seen a lot of activity. A lot of people have been coming into the office and talking. There was one lady from New York. She has an antique company. She sets up at Brimfield all the time in front of Francesco's restaurant. She has the sculptures and everything. She was looking at it at first. Somebody had gave her bum information. She thought she could just move into the building. The two big issues in that building is electricity and sprinkling the building. The building was sprinkled. There's old pipes. I don't know if they can use the old pipes or whatever, but that was a big thing with her, so I'm not so sure what she's gonna do. And then, of course, we've got some breweries that are looking at it and everything. I think, hopefully, you know, somebody will come in and do something with the building. They have cleaned it up a lot. I don't know if anybody's noticed. They told me today, John and I was there, because of that lady saying they thought they could just move in. We wanted to make sure they understood they had to sprinkle the building and stuff, but we did thank them, because they've taken 10, I don't know if you're familiar, 30-yard dumpsters, which are big dumpsters, because an average triaxle is probably about 22 yards, so 30 is bigger than, they took 10 of them out of there, junk, because they had brought stuff in there. There was stuff still from CPC, SPD was there. They've got it cleaned up pretty good inside. They cleaned the outside. The only bad thing is I think they were supposed to go to conservation. They didn't. I think they're going tomorrow night. As far as our end and safety, as far as fire and building, at least now, if they had to get around with a fire truck to put a fire out or whatever, they can. They've got that gate up above you could remove. Before, you couldn't go around it. It was bad. So that part was a good thing. You know, the other part is up to whatever with them.
Question about that. So there's no environmental concerns, citations with the DEP on that building?
Yes.
So what is the status of that?
This is what the person from Shrewsbury says. Because I had heard once that they did a 21E and it was okay. Now he's saying he's checking it out, so I don't know if that means he's buying time, he wants to buy, he doesn't want, so I don't know. But
So is there a Chapter 21E or not?
I was told there was one done, I'm not really sure,
And that was clean?
and it was clean. That's what I had heard,
Oh.
original. And now the story's changing, so
Well, wouldn't the current owner have it?
I doubt it. I think who bought it would mandate it, you know, so. I
No,
can
the one
check.
that was already
I really
done.
don't know.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
don't want to
just-
tell you, Mary, that I know.
Right, I was just curious
In case
because,
I'm wrong, so I will find out, though, or I'll try to find out. you
yeah,
know.
that would
Well,
be,
It's a good question, though,
yeah.
yeah. And then, 5 leaves, they gave them a 24-month extension over here for, yeah. And then Sawdust Cafe, that opened. I'm hearing good reports. Everybody said the food's good, good place to eat. It's quiet.
Oh, Sawdust hasn't opened it.
No, they're gonna open hopefully December.
Yeah, yeah, we just signed their liquor license, just came back from the state.
Yeah, and then other completed is a Briar Patch. It's done, they moved in. The optical shop, that's open too. And the other thing is that one of the engineers is working on the bar, the extension for the Thai restaurant, so that looks like that's gonna happen too. So that building's gonna be full. Something else I didn't put on here, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I do now, but I'll mention it. The old Lincoln House where, what's it, Country Curtains
That's what I was
there.
going to ask about, yeah. Country
Yeah, there's gonna be a little boutique going in there. What they're gonna do is, when you go in the front of the building, because I was there today, when you go in the front of the building, there's a bathroom in the middle, there's like a little entry area, beautiful, I don't know if you've probably been in there, see the stairs and wind up
It's a
gorgeous.
beautiful
It's nice.
building.
Isn't it?
Beautiful building.
And they're gonna share that, and then they're gonna put a wall, there's just one opening halfway down, they're gonna do it, because the boutique's gonna take the left side, I believe, and they're looking for somebody to rent the right side. So they're not putting a lot of money or anything in it, but at least they're gonna have people in the building, which is good. And it keeps them out of, keeps them out of me making code changes, because they're not making enough changes to, do all kinds of things, but
So
it'll
it's a
still be good.
retail apparel store, or what kind
Yeah,
of retail?
yeah. some-
Upscale ladies.
Yeah, upscale ladies,
Oh,
yeah.
we make so much money doing this
See
that
what
I'll
I-
be in there.
The cook shop, I was never in that building before,
Oh, it's
pretty.
nice. It
I knew the
was,
stairway was nice because Steve Fleshman had drawn it up and he showed it on an angle, and I
Yeah.
said, boy, I want to see that. And
yeah, it was
that's
moved,
craftsman.
it was moved from Worcester.
Yes, the Lincoln
Lincoln
owned it.
House.
Like, there's a little plaque there.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, 1950, and this house is huge. You would never know it was rebuilt. They did it in sections. I mean, they were craftsmen. You got to give them credit. I mean, I just love, the windows have shutters.
Yeah.
They fold, all built-in cabinets. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. We've got some really beautiful houses in this town. Nice, which is nice.
Okay, any questions or comments for Nelson?
I just have one more
Mary?
question. The building where the new Panera is.
Yes.
The other, any word on what might go in the other
I don't think
part
they
of
have
it?
any solid interest at the moment. I guess, a lot of people are saying, I guess it's, a lot of the companies, the size isn't quite big enough for them, that's what I've been hearing anyways,
Is it as big as the Panera? How did that building get
Maybe
divided?
about, what do you think, Chase? Half again as big?
Half about it.
Oh, half as
Yeah.
big as Panera, so that's not a big,
I do believe eventually, though, somebody will go in there, and when they do, I think they'll do a good business, because it's, it's a busy place.
Now, Nelson, do you know, with Five Leaves, I know they got an extension, but did those units come off of our SHI, or subsidized
I'm not
housing
sure.
inventory, or are they,
Well,
they just, they got an extension and we lost those units?
Yeah, I will find out, I really don't know.
Yeah, because would they be on it yet, having not been built?
Yeah, when they first approved them, we got, credit for that many units. But I don't know how that works with an extension,
I can try to I will find out, I just don't know.
because we might have lost them.
Yeah, it's possible.
So, yeah, it's an interesting question, whether we have them or not.
Yeah.
We're still
Count
not near.
Counting your chickens before
We're
they
not,
hatch.
yeah, we're not near 10%. and
Oh, no. 6.
so-
Okay, anything else for Nelson? Thank you, Nelson.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Have a
Nelson.
nice
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving.
Everybody eat plenty of turkey, have a good time, a lot of dessert.
I don't need any directions for that.
We've got quite a few people coming over the house. Our daughter's bringing food, and we're gonna have a good time.
Nice, thanks.
Life's good.
We know you're busy in Sturbridge, so.
All right, thank you.
See you, Nelson.
Okay. Town administrators,
Okay, thank you.
update.
Yep. The senior center consultant process is nearing an end. We got the pricing from the selected vendor. Robin and I are vetting that. We'll meet with the committee and then bring it to you for the acceptance. And that way we can get it on for the winter town meeting, which we would like to set for January 27th. We've checked with the moderator and with the school. That day is open, and they're good to go with that. So I don't know what process we need to do to set that date, but we can set that up for the first
Yeah,
meeting in
we,
December.
Normally, the board would vote on it.
Okay, I'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. We're finishing up a RFP for a water and sewer rate study. That should be on your next agenda for review. This Thursday and Friday, I'm in Gloucester at the Fall Municipal Managers Conference, so I'll be out of the office Thursday and Friday. Over the weekend, this building's sprinkler system sprung a leak, so a portion of the system's offline until we can effectuate repairs.
It's just 2 sprinkler heads.
Just 2 said, okay. Again, Home of the Brave 5K this weekend. Great job, everybody. That was awesome. One thing Nelson didn't mention, it happened in November, not September, October. 551 Lead Mine, the mobile home that's dilapidated, that's processed to effectuate removal is started up again. We sent them a 30-day letter. So after the end of 30 days, if it's not been removed, we'll go get a court order and do the necessary legal work to have that removed. Also, I've been getting some interest about 8 Brookfield, which is the old building at the end of Route 20 there. How do we go through a process of determining what we're going to do with that? Is there something we should put on an agenda, or?
Yes. But we usually discuss that in executive session.
Okay. All right, so I'll put that on for an executive session.
And then depending on what the board decides and votes on.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine
Have
we'd
to
have
go
to
all the way
open it
to-
up for the world to, you
Yeah.
know. Final thing is I got a letter about a public improvement plan termination, Foot Road residential well area in Charlton. I guess there was some pollution in some wells in Charlton. The responsible party ran a water line to all the affected properties, and they're looking to close the project, so there'll be a public hearing on the closure of the project on November 25th, 2019, from 6 until 7 p.m. at Dexter Hall in Charlton. So that was published in the Sturbridge Times, the Sturbridge Villager newspaper, Southbridge News, Charlton Villager, and Telegram and Gazette, that public notice, so.
Okay, I think the rest of the board got a copy
Did you
too.
get it? Okay. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the action items, we have a request to concur with the hiring of Michael DeHane for the position of custodian. Jeff, you want to run through it, please?
Yes, we included a new 18-hour-a-week position in the current year budget. We've recruited Mr. DeHane, who's here this evening, was the selected employee, selected applicant. We'd like to bring him on for 18 hours a week. Robin did the vetting and checked all his references, so he's good to go.
Okay,
We're excited about getting him on board. It'd be a good add to our staff.
Okay, any questions, comments from the board? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion to concur with the hiring of Michael DeHane for the position of custodian, starting wage of $16.75 per hour, 18-hour a week, effective
Immediately.
immediately.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, welcome aboard.
Good luck to
Thank you,
you.
Mike. All right, good deal.
Okay, next we have a request for a one-day liquor license, Bay State Brewing Company, for the tree lighting. On the application, I notice that the hours of operation say from 5 to 9 p.m. However, the tree lighting is 6 to 8. Anybody have a
No
comment?
after party?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's when it gets dangerous. Got to get these kids home and
Oh.
warm. Okay. Is there any comment from the board?
I've
Jason?
been a big advocate of the one-day liquor license. I've supported them for the concerts on the Common, I've supported them for the bonfires. This one I'm struggling with a little bit, because it's just such a kid-friendly event that has so many young children at, where it's not so much as that social event that the others are. So I'm having a tough time with this one.
Okay, any other comments?
Well, I haven't
Mary?
been in favor of alcohol on our common, and so I always abstain. But I think we have beautiful breweries, but I don't think that we need to open it up on our town-owned property for liability and other reasons. But I do agree with Chase. I mean, I don't know why, like, for children, hot chocolate is not enough. This really is a kid's event, but parents want to have a drink, they're going to be able to. But again, I always vote, I'm not in favor of these one-day liquor licenses, so.
Mike?
I tend to agree with Chase as well. It's enough that we're lighting the tree, we don't have to let some of the adults get lit, so. I would
Too
agree
bad
with,
newspaper doesn't cover us anymore. There's a sound bite if I ever heard one.
so I would agree with Chase. It's not necessary to have, beer at this type of an event. I think some of the other events, it was very complimentary to the event, but this is not that type of event, I agree.
No, I totally agree with the comments. It is a children's event with Santa Claus there. And
Yeah, I wouldn't want it at Halloween,
No.
so.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion then, one way or the other?
Was your,
How do I make a motion to?
To deny.
to
Yeah, I
deny
make a
the
motion to
one-day.
deny the one-day liquor license to Bay State Brewing Company for the tree lighting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion? Okay, 4-0. Okay, next we have vote to set a retreat date for the Board of Selectmen.
Any
Okay,
suggestions?
yeah, Jeff is suggesting January 18th.
Sorry.
No, I'll make a motion that we,
What, can I
Mary's
just
checking
want
her.
to pull it up.
Oh.
Is that our long weekend in January?
I have no
Martin
idea.
Luther King. Oh, no,
Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
because if
Martin
it is,
Luther King is that
It is the
Monday.
20th, yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
decline that one because we usually go away on that long weekend.
All right.
So
The
if I
20th.
don't have to,
Change plans, it's
yeah, I
better.
mean, it's a long weekend, I think we can get a break.
We can do the
before or
25th?
after?
That's the MMA.
No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No, we can't do that.
Right.
That's
Is it the 25th, that's the MMA, or the weekend
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
the 4th and 25th.
25th.
Okay. So the 11th, that would work for me. I don't
How
know.
about the 1st, February 1st? Or is that too late?
I think February 1st would work a little better for me than the 11th, if okay with the board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wherever you want.
okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we set the date for the annual Board of Selectmen retreat for February 1st, 2020.
Oh, my God, that sounds...
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Now, you have all the information on what we do. and-
No, I don't have any idea. I was gonna, thank goodness you blew it off a couple more weeks, gives me a couple more weeks to figure it out.
You
Oh,
got
it's
we
easy.
do it
I'll be
on
in.
a really warm island somewhere in the Caribbean.
Just, absolutely, absolutely.
If that's the case, I'm free January 18th, the long week. Forget going skiing, I'm there.
No, we'll talk.
Yeah, I'll be in.
That's fine.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, next we have a request to approve the request to enter into agreement with Energy Electric. Jeff?
Yes, one of the projects in the budget that was approved was lighting for the ball fields at DPW. A request for quote was solicited, or a bid was solicited, and Energy Electric Company was the lowest responsible bidder. Robin's here to answer any questions, so is Annie and Kabon from the Rec Commission. So if you have any
Okay, does
questions?
anybody have any questions? Having read the proposal and everything, Mike?
Yeah, I was just going to say, when I remember Little League, when the rule was that they didn't play after, as soon as it got dark, the game stopped. That was a Little League rule, and I guess...
Oh, they lit the candles.
Yeah, oh, no. If you had school, you had to go home. You know, you couldn't play after dark, so I think times are changing, and
Well, there's a lot more
kids...
teams and kids playing.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's
it's
a good,
like-
I
it's
think
like-
it's a good thing, because the busier kids are doing
Yeah.
things.
Less
that
mischief they
try
get
and-
into.
yeah.
Well, it allows you to get 2 games in a night on
Instead
a
of-
field.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it-
I'm just lamenting that.
I know.
the
There's an
kids-
excitement
kids
for
should-
kids to play under the lights.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just, but things have changed, and that's the way it is now.
Okay, any other questions?
we have more organized sports now than we did as well. There was more pickup games and that type of thing. I'd rather see them outside playing than doing other things.
Yes.
If
Okay.
if the kids want to practice, like say the coach wants to have a practice, will the lights be able to be turned on for them and stuff, or is this strictly games?
Strictly games for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably use it, most, for your part, it will be mostly on weekends, Friday night, Saturday night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, for kids. We don't want to have the kids up, especially your kids up until 9, 10 o'clock at night, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Sad thing is, they are anyways.
Well,
I mean,
right.
you know. Okay, no more questions? Someone want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to enter into an agreement with Energy Electric Company, Inc. for the Little League field lighting project in the contract price of $175,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 4-0. Okay, thank you all for your work.
Hey, ball.
Thank you.
And this will be in for spring?
That's the goal, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Just in time for Triple E.
I'm just asking. Don't say that.
We don't even say those words anymore.
I'm just asking, because I'm curious, how can there's like a big span of pricing with this
It's
particular
always that
project,
way.
Yeah.
of like $50,000.
Yeah, any project
Wow, I'm
is that way.
surprised. Well, they think they can do it, great.
I think it had to do with the lighting manufacturer, and I'm not sure that there's a company called Musco Sports Lighting, and they specialize in it. I'm not convinced that they went in with all 4 bidders, so they may have had a lower price based on their lighting. It may have been the lighting that people chose to put in their project that contributed to the spread.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we vote?
Yes. Yes, we did, we voted. Because I was waiting to
Did they
see if
vote?
Mike was going to lament about the lights, but you voted for it.
Chase, all in
Yeah.
favor?
I mean, no, the fact that kids don't have to go home when it gets dark is,
Streetlights come on, you gotta be home.
Mama call you home for supper at dark.
Okay,
That's what Uber Eats is for. You can bring 'em
next,
to the-
we have a request to concur with the appointment of Dane Labonte to the Community Preservation Committee with a term expiring on June 30th, 2022.
Yes, Mr. Labonte was supposed to be here this evening, but a work commitment. He couldn't make it. We can move this to the next meeting, or it's your pleasure to appoint, or confirm the appointment.
Yeah, I don't have any reservations.
I don't either.
Neither do I.
Okay, so
awesome.
will somebody make a
Thank you, guys.
motion then?
I'll make a motion that we concur with the appointment of volunteer Dane Labonte for the Community Preservation Committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 4 to 0. Okay, next we have a letter of resignation from Deb Morse. Any comment or questions?
She's done a great job,
Yeah.
and the town will
Miss
miss
her.
her, for sure.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion that we accept with regret the resignation of Deb Morse as the Assistant Treasurer Collector.
Okay,
I'll second
effective,
that with regret.
effective November 22nd.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
effective November 22nd, 2019.
Okay. Any more questions, comments? I know, and can we send her a letter, please, thanking her for all her years of service?
Do we know how many? Anybody?
It's close to 25.
I knew it was a long time, so.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Okay, 4 to 0. Okay, next we have a recommendation to appoint Sandra Sears to the position of Assistant Treasurer Collective, effective immediately with a starting wage of $24.11 per hour. Questions, comments?
I also think she's going to do a great job, and I'm glad to see her shift over and to promote from within.
Any other comments? Motion?
I'll make a, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we concur with the appointment of Sandra Sears as the new Assistant Treasurer Collector, effective immediately at the rate of $24.11 an hour.
Is there
I'll
a
second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 4 to 0. Okay. Okay, next, we have a request to approve a letter of support for participation in the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. Any comment?
The letter seems like it's well-written. I'll make a motion to authorize Chair Blanchard to sign the letter of support from the Board of Selectmen stating interest in the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, next we have a request to concur with the reappointment of Kathy Savastosky to the Historical Commission. Now, did we just miss her with the reappointments?
Probably. Yep.
Okay. Anybody have any?
And we're still trying to, because somehow we got on where your term would run when you got appointed from, rather than the June 30th, so we're,
Trying to move everything to June 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've,
but we probably could have done this before.
yeah. No, I just,
Yeah, my bad.
no, it's not your bad.
No.
We miss a lot of them because
Trying not,
Well,
trying to,
sometimes a letter goes out to the people on those boards and commissions, and sometimes they don't always respond, so.
Yep.
Comes key.
Yep.
So, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we concur with the reappointment of Kathy Zavatoski to the Historical Commission, effective immediately.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, old business. Chase?
I have no old.
Mike?
Not at this time.
It's gonna be too late later.
Well, I got some real old business, but we can wait.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah.
Okay, Mary?
And I'm just, because I haven't talked to everybody, Mike and I did go to the caregivers cultivation facility in Barry. We had a very thorough tour, and I'm happy that Mike took the time off from work to meet me there and take advantage of that opportunity, so.
Okay, new business. Chase?
I have no new.
Mike?
Me either.
Mary?
No.
And I don't either. Correspondence?
Okay. Here somewhere. Where did it go? I thought it was here. These are all minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we've got a list.
Oh, we don't have a list?
List for what?
Correspondence.
Oh.
Usually the board gets a whole list of,
Okay,
Okay.
next time.
Yep.
I got it.
that's okay.
I don't see any correspondence in the package.
No,
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 she
that's what I
doesn't.
just spoke
Okay,
to.
so next time
Yeah.
we'll catch up on that.
Chase, do you have any?
I have none.
Mike?
I don't either.
Mary?
No.
I had a couple, I got a letter just to me to relay to the rest of the board. It's from Cecilia Schweitzer. I can pull it out. It's in regard to the purchase of lot and land by CPC at 365 Main Street. I am writing to inform you and the other members that all of the residents at 365 Main Street are in agreement. We would like to have the property and the mobile homes behind the proposed buildings, which is owned suburban residential, purchased by CPC. Each resident is 55 or over, ranging to age 92. CPC proposes to keep the mobile home community and make upgrades to the area. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, can we just keep that to go with the files for the,
I do want to add, can I add something to that?
Mary?
Because when we got the tour today, the owners or the principals reiterated their commitment to leaving the mobile park residents in place, a lease in perpetuity.
And
So-
I queried them on whether it
Mike
was in
did.
perpetuity, and they said yes. And I also got an email from Celia's son, which I will submit to the town administrator, so it becomes public record.
right,
Essentially, it's exactly the same as that letter.
right, and we had a letter before from a resident there, and others had signed it, and Cecilia's the one that owns the mobile home park. Okay, and then I do have that one from Ty and Bond that Jeff read. And then there's another one from this Mask Fiscal.
Y'all got those, yeah.
Did everyone else get that
I'm
too?
sorry, I just realized I
Oh, yeah,
got both of
just-
those as well.
Just explaining the Transportation and Climate Initiative. They say it's a backdoor attempt to raise the gasoline tax without forcing the legislature to vote on it, so it doesn't require any action by the board. And I did get a nice thank you note from Studio 2020, the new optical place, thanking, Jeff went and I went to their ribbon cutting, and they thanking the town for support. So that's all I had for correspondence. Okay, minutes. Okay, October 7th. Samantha, I apologize for not having gotten back to you, but on the first page, 126, excuse me, under executive session, A, the next to the last word in the first line should be that, not then.
Okay.
You mean if the chair declares that an open session?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, page 127. At the top, under motion to grant a common, it's victualers.
Thank you.
We're not selling any cars.
That's true.
Okay.
Business license.
In page 128, the motion to approve the logging permit, subject to, it should be subject to the conditions in the general bylaws, section 3.34. Because Jeff had pointed out that we thought it was board policy, but it's actually a general bylaw.
Oh, 3.14?
3.34.
34.
Okay,
General bylaws, section 3. Yep.
okay, and on page 130, at the top, this is my teaching. The first line, common, should have a capital letter, it's a particular.
Particular common.
Okay.
And the line under that, public safety complex, capital letters also. And then on page 131, almost 3/4 down where paragraph begins, DPW Director Jackson stated. Then the second paragraph, Selectmen Supranat. And then it says Chair Blanchard stated it would be the same at 7,500. She does not think we can deny entry into the sewer. I don't think I said that because we certainly can.
Okay.
Okay.
I can take that off the record.
No, I think I said that the entry into the sewer is first come, first served. So that might have been attributed to me.
I think, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that Mike did take that position that we can't deny the right to sue, and you took the opposite
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's right, because we can. Okay,
If it's available, you can't deny it.
Do you want me to just strike it from the,
just strike that.
okay, that's
Aye.
good. All right.
Okay, does anybody else have anything? Mary?
I have a few changes. On page 131, the second full paragraph, Vice Chair Dowling mentioned that she couldn't find anything.
Yep.
After the word anything, insert in the sewer bylaws language that gave the property owners the right to assign a hookup to a property, and then insert under these circumstances, period. And then I just had a question. I don't recall, but our chair can tell us if this isn't the case. I didn't recall Chair Blanchard mentioning that there are already two similar conditions at McGilpin Road 41 and 49.
I mentioned water. I don't think they have sewer.
I mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it was in the packet that there were already two similar conditions.
Yes, but Mary Blanchard's position was that under these circumstances, when those lots were combined on Old Farm, there was no longer any right to a hookup on that vacant lot because
Oh.
it was combined.
Yeah.
That was her whole point.
Yeah, which was stated at the beginning, but also in the recording, it did state that Blanchard did mention that.
Two
Yeah.
similar conditions.
Yeah, I don't know if they have both water and sewer, though.
I think you may just have reiterated something in a memo I had written.
Yeah, it was,
Okay, I mean,
yes.
then my other changes towards the 4 lines up from the motion, Vice Chair Dowling stated that she does not think it should be assigned to a neighborhood without approval at town meeting. Change it to Vice Chair Dowling stated that she does not believe the sewer bylaws allow such assignment to a neighborhood. So instead of does not think it should be assigned, say she does not believe the sewer bylaws allow.
Okay.
Anyone else? Is there a motion then to approve as amended?
So moved.
So you got a motion by Selectman Kavitsky and seconded by Selectman Supranat.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 4-0. Okay, November 4th. On page 136, under executive session, the word at the end of the first line should be that. And then down under town administrators, the third line sentence, 3/4 of the way through, that begins with the process. The process is still ongoing. We need to insert the word "and."
Okay.
And then on page 137, continuation of that paragraph, third line up, caregivers is considering the building next to Friendly's. It's actually the land. Buildings, not there.
So you want me to put land?
Yes, instead of building, land next. Okay. And then that small paragraph, the third line down, where it's continuation of the ribbon cutting is at 2020 at 4 PM. It's optics 2020. Just to be,
Cutting is at optics.
yeah, just so people.
No, it is.
And then, under approval of necessary actions, third line down, almost halfway in, the sale was held last week. Need to insert the word "and," the town. Okay. And then on 140, the end of that first paragraph just needs a clarification. Jeff said there was one abstention, that was from Joni Light. Need to insert the word "because" she had voted at the Personnel Committee. Okay, and then the free cash certification.
Yes.
The next to last line, Chair Blanchard asked if we have a list on the veterans. It needs to be inserted work-off program.
It's on the Veterans Work-Off Program.
Yeah, we had the senior. Okay, that's all I had. Does anybody else have anything?
I just have a couple changes. On page 137, the first, how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 lines down, it says, Vice Chair Dowling shared for those watching the meeting that the board toured the facility for Farm 353. Insert, Vice Chair Dowling shared for those watching the meeting that 2 members of the board, herself and Chase, toured the facility for Farm 353, along with Jeff Bridges and Jean Boubon. So 2 members of the board, myself and Chase, with Jeff Bridges and Jean Boubon. And I don't have any other changes.
Anyone else?
Page 140, under old business, it says Selectmen Supernaut. You can strike the word Mike after that. Drop the mic.
Okay, hold on, where was that again?
Old business, first sentence.
Thank you.
Third wording.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Okay, anything else? Is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Thank you, Smee.
see, it gets easier.
Right?
Okay, next we have Citizens Forum. Okay, could you come down to one of the mics, please? You could sit or stand. I'll sit. Okay, and could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Paula Petrino. I live at 358 New Boston Road, and I've been a resident of Sturbridge for 30 years in the same home. And I've tried to work with the town administrator, the planning board, the building inspector, for Diverty Builders has a project of 11.43 acres on New Boston Road. And they have been pretty much running a gravel pit operation and quoting it as site prep work for the last 2 years. This started in March 2017. It's just gotten so out of control. The Sturbridge Police do have logs of phone calls from people that have lived on, not just around me, but also the whole street. I just recently started getting a petition signed because I can't deal with it anymore. The quality of life is not there anymore on New Boston Road. I don't even want to go to my own home. The neighbors, I went from, the road runs about 5 miles long. I live at the end of it. I started at the beginning at 42 and went all the way down and did the best I could do in the time that I had from knowing I was coming to the meeting. And it's not just me. It's not the people that live around this little pit operation. It's the whole road. Right now, we're dealing with a convoy truck load of 30 to 40 trucks a day, 10 to 18 wheelers, going down New Boston Road to the site. They're loading the soil and the gravel into the trucks. He's loading it as the trucks are lined up. The other day, they were lined up, there was 3 tractor-trailer trucks on New Boston Road waiting to get in to the pit. There were already 7 already in there. The town keeps telling me that they can't do anything because of quoted bylaw of like, he's only doing it for site work. It's not just site work. He's running a gravel operation there. I know where the gravel's going. I know who's buying it. It needs to be stopped. Like, we just can't take it anymore. Like, it's gotten to the point where people are concerned about their kids at the school bus. They even start at 6:40 in the morning. 6:40 in the morning, there's trucks already lined up to get the gravel. Don't we have a town ordinance? 6:40 in the morning, we have 18-wheelers going into this
We
place.
do on certain permits, we have time limits on them, but he doesn't have a permit for gravel removal.
No, he
correct?
doesn't have a permit for gravel. In fact, he didn't even have permits on the 2 lots that he was taking this stuff out of until I went to the planning board and the town administrator to complain. And they went and made him get the permits for that lot, for those 2 lots.
So how long was he doing this without a permit? And did we fine him for that, or?
No, there was no
what position
fines.
did we take?
He got a driveway permit, but the severity of the work he was doing, we made him file for a field building permit and pay the fee for a full building permit. And, you know, I certainly understand where she's coming from. It's just one of these loopholes in our bylaw. He's allowed to do it, and perhaps he is taking advantage of that particular bylaw. I mean, we're just as frustrated as the residents
If
are.
any one of you lived across from this, you would not be able to.
Could I ask through the town administrator, whether there is a stormwater management plan for this,
It's been through conservation, planning approved it, everybody's approved it.
so there is what they call a SWP.
Well, he's in compliance with everything he needs compliance on.
Well, what
It's not
if,
a
Are you
gravel
sure?
operation, he's prepping,
No.
Is there more than 1 acre of disturbance?
No.
Does he have an EPA permit for stormwater?
he's building a single-family home.
It doesn't matter if if there were 11 lots divided. if it's
We're only
part
talking about
of-
one lot right now.
No.
There's two
No,
lots.
it doesn't work that way. If there was a Form A plan for 3 or more lots, the state regulations say that he has to file under the state regulations and under the federal
can check
regulations
with the
if he
planning
disturbs
department.
more than 1 acre.
But since I've been here, he's only been working on 2 lots.
It doesn't matter.
I know, Mike, what I'm saying-
If the original plan was for more than 3 lots...
I don't know what the
he has
original
to
plan
file.
was, and the original subdivision was approved.
It's a subdivision or an A&R?
I can check with planning, but
Okay, I would suggest...
Is there a street a new street involved?
No.
Or is it all frontage lots?
no frontage lots.
That's an A&R in Massachusetts, an approval not required plan. But even though it's an A&R plan, the stormwater regulations apply. Which
I would
means he has
suggest,
to-
though, that after Chase speaks.
So this has been going on since 2017, and he came in and he applied for a building permit to build a house. Is there any evidence of that house there now? It's just, there's no foundation.
Still digging.
He's still
The lots have
digging.
been leveled for over a year. He's still digging in even a new area right now. And if you look at the plan, the lot where he's building, where he's digging right now, is not even part of the 2 lots that I made him go and get the permits on. This is a whole nother section behind the house that he sold. That is not even included in the 2 lots that he has a permit on.
My
Well, I would
understanding,
say-
he's only working on the lots he's got a permit on.
I live across the street.
Well,
I have
I
video.
understand,
Okay.
and I've been with planning on this, conservation on this.
well, if she
Okay.
has, Doc, do you have pictures that he's on a lot different than what he got a permit on? And also, let me just interject here. I mean, I don't think it's, I'll just put this out there, I don't think it's right that a resident, a neighbor, has to be the one that enforces his requirement to get a permit and has to go before either Gene or our building inspector. Like, that should have come from the town.
Oh, you have no idea the
You know,
work that has gone into this.
had this resident not taken the initiative, he still would have been doing this without the required permits. And that's not right, and that's why I said, was there some kind of fine that he was
Oh,
doing it for
I
a year or
asked.
2? He didn't go with, if you're correct, so, I mean, it's only one side of the story, with all due respect, but if he didn't go of his own volition to get the permits, and it had to be, initiated by a neighbor, then something's wrong, that, like, we didn't do things properly. And I have a problem that she took the initiative on that.
There are a lot of things, and like I said, I've been a resident here for 30 years. There are a lot of things that are not being done properly on this project.
I would suggest, though, that, we have very little information on it. With the question that Mike raised, I would suggest that Jeff in the planning and building inspector and you all get together and go through what the process has been, what approvals have been given, and
And any
what
pictures
can
that
be
you-
done if anything can be
The
done.
videos of the convoys are crazy.
I have no doubt, I've been out there, I've talked to
Well,
them,
yeah.
I've talked to DeVerde, I've talked to where the gravel's going, I don't disagree with you.
I know.
It's getting a mechanism
To-
to do something about it because he has filed a building permit and paid the fee for a building permit for the construction of a new home, and your bylaw specifically excludes that from the earth excavation ordinance.
But he did it after the fact, correct?
He's been working on wait a minute.
Hold on, that's my question. Who took the initiative
He's
for
been
him to
working
get
on
the
multiple
permit?
lots over time. The latest lot, and the final lot in the process, is where he originally got a driveway permit,
And that was 2 years ago?
which again allows for the exception under the zoning, under the bylaw, the severity of his work being done, to me, the driveway permit wasn't enough, so I made him file a full building permit if he wanted to take advantage of the exclusion from getting an excavation license. That's specifically, your bylaw excludes
Okay.
building a.
But I also want to interject this, because she's coming before us, so now it's our problem. That's how I look at it. Well, no, but I mean.
No, it's our problem
It's
as
our
far as
problem
what we can do.
But-
That's serious.
But also, it's our problem if there's
It's not
any.
just me.
It's if there's
Oh, no.
any safety, if there's any safety concerns with these tractor trailers lined up on New Boston Road, then notwithstanding the bylaw, I would think that we would be able, if there is in fact, I think we would be able to get our police chief involved, and perhaps, given the length of time, maybe a police detail is required, because
I talked to the police about
I mean, New Boston Road is highly residential. It's a narrow
We
road.
should not be at the
And-
point where we need to get a police detail. This should be stopped. They're running a illegal operation across the street.
Well, the suggestion, though, about getting those people together is to run through it step by step, because I know there are other projects that people disapprove of, they're annoyances to people.
This is more than that.
No, and we understand that, but the thing is, if someone's doing something according to the bylaws, they're allowed to do it. Mike now brought up a new issue, so if that can also be addressed. So I still think the best thing is to get all those people together with all the information and go through it.
And I would also like to know if those tractor trailers are parked, because, that's just a plain old traffic violation that the police chief should be involved with.
Yep, and
I mean, they're not allowed to park I can't imagine
Well,
that,
it's not
that
a
amount
state
of
road.
tractor trailers.
And it's around a bend, and I did go and I called the police on them on Friday, which I'm going to the chief of police tomorrow, because on Friday evening, I called the police on the tractor trailers being lined up on New Boston Road, and on Friday evening at 6:30, Diverty himself knocked on my door. Now, he's been there for over 2.5 years, and he knocked on my door at 6:30 at night. Wrong. How did he get my name? The police gave my name out to the builder? I've restrained myself and not gone over there and talked to him and gone through the proper channels of the safety that my tax dollars pay for, and use the police, use the town administrator, use the planning. And I have the builder knocking on my door at 6:30 in the dark. I have pictures of him that night, too, at 4:30. And I think it was like 10 after 5. Yep, he was done work. That's when he came over to my house, still excavating in the dark with the light on his excavator. That's site prep work. He had 4 tractor trailers stuck in there on Friday. They had to be chained out. So he's even built a new road. Now he's going down Lane 8. Wait till they find out, because this started today. He's going down Lane 8. I don't know if you're familiar with the lanes that go down to South Pond. Now he's using that road, and he's cut a new road in to his site prep work so that the tractor trailers can now go in there and fill and go and bring stuff out. Like, it's just gotten to the point, it's the 3-ring circus. It needs to be stopped. And he went on and on about what he's doing, and I went on and on about what I know. I told him I had gotten a petition. He wanted to see my petition. I said, absolutely not. He wanted to know what I was gonna do with it, and I didn't tell him. Like, this is how I'm living my life, fighting this. We just don't wanna have a septic gravel operation across the street from us. Like, just needs to be stopped. I mean, I will continue to do whatever it takes, because again, it's not just me, it's the whole road. It's not just the people that are around it, 5 or 6 houses. It's affecting the whole road. They shouldn't even be on, you should see them when they come out with the school buses, and you got all the tractor trailers going on New Boston Road. Jeff even drove out there, and the first time he drove out there, he said, oh, well, I can't believe what a narrow road this is. You should see it now, with tractor trailers coming at you.
I don't know if
If
that's
you have
my
safety
exact
cons-
words,
if
but.
you have safety concerns, you should go,
But it
you
shouldn't
should
be
go
a
to the
detail.
chief
We need to
of
get rid of
police.
this. There needs
I
to be a,
understand.
Well,
we need to find a
when-
loophole.
all we can do is what we can do with the bylaws and everyone getting together. You know, we can't just arbitrarily walk in and say, stop this. We need to have reasons. That's why I firmly believe if we have all the facts, if we get the right people together, maybe we can find something. Because it certainly does sound like it's not just your
Yeah, I'm-
typical A and
It
Rs.
certainly doesn't sound like your typical, I've never, in all my years sitting here, had this kind of a complaint about a house preparation work. So that
And I've
is
been here 30 years, and
unusual
I've
to me.
seen none of this go on.
Jace?
Can we expedite this meeting so it happens very quickly?
Oh, yeah, Jeff can.
You know,
Yeah,
Because this is definitely taking advantage of a loophole in the bylaw.
It's so taking
Should,
advantage.
yeah. And,
And who
It's
says
sti-
it's a loophole? We'll
I do.
we'll talk
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
I'm,
but there,
bylaws are not supposed to be abused either, so
But I
I'm not
believe-
sure, I'd have to look at the language, I'm not sure he is within the bylaw. Now,
It
if she
says
can
point
prove that
blank,
it's a gravel.
excluded, site preparation for a new
Yes,
structure.
but she is, hold on, but if she's accurate, it's not just site preparation work that he's doing. If she's correct, I don't know if you are or not, but she's asserting that it is basically gravel removal. So that would not be allowed under that bylaw. We have to get to the bottom of whether this is in fact site.
He even has.
Site
he has the
preparation or not.
machines that sift it, that he was doing the,
The exclusion arises in your site excavation ordinance, okay? So if you're preparing a site for a new structure, you don't have to get a permit to remove the sand and gravel from the site. This is why I'm saying this is a loophole. He is preparing for a new structure. He's built houses on the other lots. He's done this too. The issue now is severity.
Within reason, though, even
Well,
bylaws
again,
have
those
to
are
be
subjective
interpreted within
standards.
reason.
But
Within reason.
I just want to throw one question out, because Mike has a really good point with his SWPP. But another option would be, if you issue a building permit on a lot, you have 6 months,
Right.
I believe, to start. And if he doesn't have a foundation or anything in the ground, then-
nothing.
I don't know if that's the threshold of foundation. You just have to show that you're
So
working on
you
a project.
started,
Under
Yeah.
the
It was
Uniform
2
Building Code.
years.
yeah. But, you know, that's,
There every single day, starts at 6:40 in the morning.
I'm not disagreeing with the word you're saying. I just don't know what tool we're going to use to shut him down when the bylaw is very specific.
yeah. So I think, again, to be repetitive, that if the right people get together as a group, because he's been to individual groups, you know, piecemeal. So I firmly believe that, you know, if the right people get together, go over step by step the
But I've been to the
process
right
that's happened.
people, and they keep telling me this.
Yeah, but that's separately. I'm talking about getting them all together, including the answer to Mike's question that he raised tonight about the stormwater.
And including some
You
input
know.
from council, because
if, he-
There's,
bylaws are typically interpreted in a way that doesn't fly in the face of its spirit and intent. So maybe it's time, with this many people affected, maybe it's time that council actually looks at the bylaw and determines whether or not this is in fact a loophole, or it's a situation that was never contemplated by that bylaw too.
what about even the perk test? He had 2 perk tests on those property, didn't he? I mean, the grade on those could show.
Well, that's what, we don't have any of that
Will
information,
show
so we can't
alone
handle
what he's done to that property. Like, he's just draining it. It's really good septic sand. He ran into, he knew it was there. I have other people that live on New Boston Road, they live on it. There's like a line that goes down, and it's really perfect sand for septics. And it's big bucks, and that's why he's been milking it.
I'm just concerned when I hear that there's tractor trailers on what I already did say is a very narrow road.
And sitting
And
there.
and when we have tree cutting permits before us, we always put, you got to coordinate with the bus drivers, and it shouldn't affect the children's safety. So if they're parked in the side of the road and a school bus is trying to get by, I think that that's a problem. Notwithstanding that bylaw, I think the safety would even trump that bylaw in terms of those tractor trailers lining up. That's what I think.
Well, we will do the best we can.
And I truly believe that between local, state, and federal stormwater regulations, if they've disturbed more than 1 acre of land
Well over
without
1 acre.
without a stormwater management plan
None.
and an
Can't imagine what's
EPA
gonna
permit,
And it
Then-
abuts South Pond.
that may be your quickest way to stop it. Just,
Well, everyone's going to work on it, okay?
Please.
So thank you for
Really affected.
bringing it to our attention, though.
our gravel
Will I hear about the meeting?
Hear
or-
from Jeff.
bylaw
Yeah,
isn't
I'll
gonna
give a
control
report
it.
back to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for your
Okay,
time.
thank you for coming in. Okay, no other citizens? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
I have
third,
one other thing.
I thirded.
wait a minute.
These are the application packets for the 3 marijuana retailers. You've probably seen a lot of this before, but rather than give you everything in one lump sum, if you want to take a pile home with you, some of those things may have changed in the final rendition of the host agreement, but that gives you a lot of background on each firm.
Awesome. I do have a question about that, actually. When we were at Caregivers today, they indicated that they submitted new plans, if they were the ones to get the permit, for what the building was going to look like. I think they said that was different than their original, they contemplating a barn type of look that would go
It
with.
should be in there,
Is that, so that's the latest?
yes.
Okay.
It's what the most recent they submitted.
Yeah, when did they submit those new plans?
The date should be on there. It
Okay.
was in the last 60 days.
Oh, see, I'm not sure this, did you get the impression that this was in the last 2 months? I get the impression that it was very recent.
Building,
It's
the
within the
most
last
recent
2
building we've
weeks.
seen is just a slab-on-grade, single-story,
Okay, so that's different than-
5,000 square foot
That's
building.
different.
That's different than what I'm just saying right now. They said they either have or were in the process of resubmitting plans that is different than their original, that would be more complementary to the look of like Old Sturbridge Village, and they're looking at a barn. So so that is probably not in this
We've not
packet.
seen or heard that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they
okay, so this, that.
did
so this is
say
their old-
something about matching the character of,
Right, that is
The
different than
village.
this one.
yeah. I
Okay, so
remember
we
that.
have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Right.
Okay, 8:04.
Yes. I made it to the beacon.
So you all have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thank you, you too, everybody.